Hi everyone. Just wanted to make a quick video in case someone was struggling with the same challenge I was and wasting hours trying to figure out how to move domains. So to be clear, the problem that we're solving right now is if you bought your domain with some company like GoDaddy or in my case 1&1, and you want to move that domain registration to Azure in case you want to perhaps consolidate all your domain registrations. So here are a couple things to watch out for. First, you want to go into Azure and click on subscriptions on the left. You'll see your subscriptions pop up. Pick your subscription and this will be the next screen that you see. You'll want to click on resources and you'll see a long list here. You can filter. So in the filter, type domain and you should see this domain registration display. If it says unregistered, go ahead and select that item and you'll see an option at the top to register. That should be fairly quick. I think it took within seconds or minutes for me. Okay, so that needs to be enabled for all this to work. Then you'll want to go to this link here. I'll provide the link in the description of the video. This is to call the Azure REST API. If you search this topic, you may find some people offering PowerShell scripts to do this same kind of thing. I think you can still do that approach, but this is the REST API was made available afterward. So I guess you could say this is the more modern way. Although if you're trying to automate any of this, you may want to still choose to use their PowerShell suite. Anyhow, so once you go here, you click on try it, and this will allow you to call the API right out of the browser. It'll look something like this. It'll open up a panel on the right. So the subscription, you go, it'll pre-populate with the Azure subscriptions that you have. The resource group names, that'll be the resource group in Azure. So if you go back to the Azure portal on the left, there'll be a link for resources, or I think it says all resources. Click on that and just pick one of the resource groups you have there. Domain name, that's the domain that you are trying to transfer. So you just put the plain domain name without HTTP or anything. So you say mikeshardlemonade.com, for example. API version, that's populated by default, leave that alone. Same with content type, leave that alone. If you keep scrolling down, this is the next screen that you'll see, or this is the next part of this form here. So I replaced the values in here. What the values that it defaults with, as far as I can tell, simply do not work. It's not even a valid JSON format. I'm not sure why it pre-populates it that way. It also doesn't give you all the required fields, so it's a little bit misleading. I'm going to supply this payload here in the description as well, so you could copy it and modify it as needed. For location, put global in quotes. Then you're going to put this contact information, most likely will be just your first and last name for all four of these. The auth code will come from your current domain provider. So let's say it's GoDaddy, you go to that website, look up how to transfer the domain, and they will provide you with an auth code and you'll plug that in here. Now consent, this is where I lost many hours trying to figure out consent. This thing just kept telling me that it's invalid. So Let me walk through these. agreedAt. You can look up the current GMT time. Just type that into Google, current GMT time, and plug that into here. I believe it does not have to be accurate. It just has to be somewhat close, I think. agreedBy. This is going to be your IP address. This one confused me. I wasn't sure if it was expecting the IP of who is calling the API, in which case it would be docs.microsoft.com. But just go to, you can go to whatsmyip.org and get your IP and plug it in there. AgreementKeys. This also tripped me up. I could not find a good finite list of these values. Every forum that I found suggested these two, but it did not work. It only worked when I was just doing a bunch of trial and error. I removed the first one here, and then finally I was able to submit this whole thing. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see a submit button. So I hope that works out for you. I hope I saved you a couple hours of research, because this is just one of those things that apparently it's not done very often, and it's hard to find good documentation on it. Thank you very much, and good luck.